Morbid Facts, Part 14. A dead French girl ended up having the most kissed lips in history. In the late 1800s, an unidentified girl was pulled out of the Seine River in Paris after drowning. A pathologist at the morgue was apparently so taken by her beauty that he casted a plastered death mask of her face. This death mask would become the face of CPR Annie, the most widely produced CPR mannequin in the world. Morbid Facts, Part 123. When Ben Franklin's London home was renovated in 1998, 15 human bodies, including 6 children, were discovered in the basement. Archaeologists agree that they were buried at the same time Franklin had been living in the home. While police initially thought it was the work of a serial killer, the bodies were likely stolen by his friend William Hewson so that he could study anatomy. When Joseph Stalin was dying, his private physician was not available. This is because he was already being tortured in the KGB headquarters for suggesting that Stalin get more bed rest. A Thai woman once accidentally slipped on mud, grabbed a naked live wire, and was electrocuted to death. After the funeral, her sister was showing her neighbors how the accident happened. Suddenly, she herself slipped, grabbed the same live wire, and was also electrocuted to death. Morbid Facts, Part 124. A teen boy injected himself with mercury at least 3 times while attempting to convert his bones into metal after watching X-Men Origins Wolverine. He was also intentionally bitten by spiders multiple times so that he could become Spider-Man. This endangered baby dolphin died shortly after this photo was taken because swimmers were passing it around for selfies. A man once threw a mouse into a pile of burning leaves. The mouse then ran into the man's home while still on fire and burned the entire house down. When people are electrocuted and thrown far distances, it is the result of sudden violent muscle contractions, not the shock itself. This has raised questions about the actual strength and subconscious capabilities of the muscles of the human body. Morbid Facts, Part 16. A Texas farmer found this astronaut helmet in his field following the Columbia disaster that killed 7 space shuttle crew members in 2003. Along with pieces of the shuttle and equipment, searchers in the debris field also found human body parts, including arms, feet, a torso, and a heart. This 3-person coffin was made for a Colorado couple whose baby died in the 1930s. Stricken by grief, they planned on committing suicide and being buried together in a single coffin. The coffin went unused when they thankfully decided not to go through with it. Today it can be seen in the National Museum of Funeral History. Apparently that's a real museum in Texas. Morbid Facts, Part 18. 2 bakery workers died in agony after being sent into a giant bagel oven to carry out repairs. The repair was a delicate procedure that involved crawling through a tight 75-foot-long conveyor belt that slowly cooks bagels. The machine should have been left to cool for 12 hours, but turned back on after only 2. Within 5 minutes, the men were relaying terrifying messages over their walkie-talkies, saying the oven's core was way too hot. But there was no way of reversing the conveyor belt, and they were trapped on its journey through the oven. 44-year-old Ian Erickson managed to crawl out the other end, but died on the factory floor in front of horrified workmates. 47-year-old David Mays collapsed inside and was caught in the machinery. He died from 80% burns and multiple broken bones. Morbid Facts, Part 125. This is a photo of a rubber worker in the Belgian Congo staring at the severed hands and feet of his 5-year-old daughter. She was murdered because he failed to meet his quota for the day. Today, the photo serves as a stark reminder of the brutality that came with colonialism. If we held a minute of silence for every victim of the Holocaust, we would be silent for 11.5 years. This is a photo of 2 autistic boys strapped to a radiator in a mental hospital in 1982. While filming the eruption of Mount St. Helens in 1980, photographer Robert Landsberg realized he had no chance of surviving it. So he wound the film back, put his camera in his backpack, and laid on top of it to protect the film for future researchers. Morbid Facts, Part 126. 8,500 feet up the slope of Mount Everest, a creepy marker serves as a guide for climbers. Known as the Green Boots, everyone approaching the summit from the north side must pass by Suang Paljor's body. It's seen as a milestone because it's an indication of just how close one is to the top of the mountain. A 17-year-old boy from Mexico City died after his girlfriend gave him a hickey. The suction resulted in a blood clot that traveled to the brain, eventually causing a stroke. In 2003, David and Tina Watson were scuba diving on their honeymoon in the Great Barrier Reef. When currents became too rough, David, an experienced diver, swam to the surface while his wife struggled in panic. This photo captures Tina lying helplessly on the sea floor in her final moments before drowning. Morbid Facts, Part 127. After donating blood for the first time, a 21-year-old Canadian woman has lost the ability to move her right arm. The nurse accidentally drew blood from an artery instead of a vein, causing damage that was permanent. During his reign, Genghis Khan killed so many people that it was actually good for the environment. The 40 million or so deaths he was responsible for dropped the Earth's carbon levels by an estimated 700 million tons. Morgan Freeman says he always wears his earrings because they're worth just enough to pay for a coffin if he happened to die in a strange place. Back in the 1500s, doctors thought that cutting open infants' gums would encourage their teeth to grow. Unfortunately, many of these children ended up dying due to severe mouth infections. Morbid Facts, Part 13. This girl's jaw was hanging on by a centimeter of skin after a horrific horse riding accident. The injuries sustained by Emily Eccles were the worst her surgeon had seen outside of a war zone. But reconstructive surgeon Ricardo Muhammad Ali was able to rebuild her face during a 6-hour operation. The photo on the right is her back in school just 1 month after the accident. This was a white hearse used for children's funerals back in the 1930s. A boy genius named Brendan Bremer was able to read at 18 months, graduated high school at age 10, and composed music. He tragically shot himself at age 14 to donate his organs to those in need. Morbid Facts, Part 128. In 1985, a black bear was found dead due to a cocaine overdose in a forest in Georgia. The bear had eaten 76 pounds of cocaine out of a duffel bag that fell from the plane of a drug smuggler. Shortly before dying, he was probably the most dangerous apex predator on the planet. This photo of a kidney stone under an electron microscope shows you why they're so painful. Bruce Lee's son Brandon was accidentally killed on the set of The Crow when he was only 28 years old. A prop gun was loaded improperly, causing dummy bullets to fire at him with the same force as live ammunition. In 2014, Harvard University discovered that 2 books in their library were bound using human skin. One of the books is called Destinies of the Soul. In the book, the author wrote a note that said, "A book about the human soul deserved to have a human covering." Morbid Facts, Part 129. In 2008, 23-year-old Rachel Hoffman was arrested for possession of marijuana and was facing 4 years in prison. Police told her that the only way to get out of the prison time was to become a confidential informant. She agreed, and her first undercover drug purchase would have been one of the biggest in Florida history. Police told her to buy 1,500 pills as well as a gun from some drug dealers. But the dealers found a wire in her purse and she was murdered with the gun that she was buying. Before World War II, Janusz Korczak ran an orphanage in Warsaw, Poland. During the Holocaust, Nazi soldiers came to his orphanage to take all 192 children to an extermination camp. Korczak was offered his freedom but refused to abandon the children. Instead, he boarded the train with them and was never seen nor heard from again. Morbid Facts, Part 131. In 2009, a Russian man named Artyom Sidorkin went to the doctors suspecting something wrong with his lungs. Initially, doctors thought they were dealing with a tumor, but it ended up being something they had never seen before. It turned out that years ago, he inhaled the seed of a fir tree and it started growing inside of him. Pigs have been known to feast on just about anything. There are even stories of pigs breaking into farmhouses and eating newborn babies. The ship that inspired the story of Moby Dick was named the Essex. After being shipwrecked by a sperm whale, the crew avoided stepping foot on surrounding islands out of fear of cannibals. But because of this bypass, the men soon ran out of food and were forced to eat each other for survival. Morbid Facts, Part 15. There are currently hundreds of deceased people in the US whose bodies are frozen in liquid nitrogen, including baseball legend Ted Williams. The hope is that future technology will be able to revive them one day. While this could possibly work, cryogenic freezing has proven to be a terribly risky operation. In one instance, the Cryonics Society of California ran out of money and couldn't keep their customers frozen, so the bodies began to thaw and decompose. Some of the bodies even went missing, and to this day, their families still don't know what happened to them.